Welcome in to the next edition of Roll Q, but it's a special mid-season edition. And I'm happy to be doing it in studio, surrounded by 5 of my closest friends. Here we got Nico, of course, from the Oni Warriors, Captain Twig from the Camelot Kings, Venenu from the Bolts, we got Bobby from the Solar Scarabs, and of course, Harrah from the Olympus Bolts as well. Fellas, thanks for coming in studio and sitting down to talk to me about a pretty big mid-season patch. A lot of big changes, and I want to start by just asking, with a show of hands, can you raise your hand if you think that your role is affected the most by mid-season?
Keep them down.
Really? I was expecting you to keep your hand down because ADCs, you're just gonna do whatever. You're just gonna hit all
the same items for 8 years.
No, we can't take this guy anywhere, man. Tossing his microphone pack all over the place. Oh my God, what a great start.
Broke it.
You broke it?
No, I didn't break it.
Oh my God.
Your pocket? Yeah, I'm putting it in the chair.
Yeah, why not sit on it? Yeah, there you go.
I got it.
We're doing great. Okay, Bobby's gonna hold it for us. Really good start.
That's the sport.
Twig, you don't think that your role is heavily affected?
Not really, no. I mean, the whole boots rush first 6 levels thing, I guess, is affected, but
yeah, I think the jungle, that's a huge deal.
Jungle,
yeah, I think that's a massive deal for you guys.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah. All right, that's what I like to see. In Van, I mean,
I did half.
Half? Okay.
Half one.
Side laners, you guys can keep your hands down. You guys, you're gonna be Arthur spinning all over people, same as always. Though there are some map changes. You got the ship over there now.
What does it do?
It looks pretty.
You can sail away. You can float
you can
go to the
hop
other
over there.
Sail to duo
And
lane.
you got an extra camp over there, right?
It's 2-minute cooldown. It doesn't do anything.
All right, we'll get to you guys in a minute. So I guess I want to talk. We'll start with boots removal because that's kind of the big thing that everyone's talking about. Harrah, we'll start with you. What was your initial reaction to boots being gone, and what are your initial thoughts on how it affects your role?
My initial reaction was pretty good because I felt like boots were kind of hard to balance throughout Smite's history, and the biggest target point for me has been tank boots. They're either completely OP or completely underpowered, and it really changes how much damage I do. And my boots have always felt kind of good the whole time.
Attack speed boots have been like the second best boots in the game.
They buffed him like 8 times in a row, and and it feels really good being able to go at different items first and not have to worry about boots. And I think certain characters have gotten way better because of that, and some characters got a little worse. Well, in my role anyways. And yeah, overall, good reaction.
We'll get to the item builds and the characters in a little bit. Bobby, you lost what I thought was the best item in the whole game in tank boots.
Yeah.
Sorely missed.
Sorely missed. But now maybe you can start rushing Thebes. Obviously, I imagine you were a little sad to lose tank boots.
I was terrified that I wasn't going to be able to build tank boots anymore. But I don't know. Thebes is just going to be weird to build because it's just such a slow ramping item, and I think the game's going to move a lot faster early because everyone used to just go boots first.
Sure.
So I think, I don't know. I was a little worried at the beginning, but after a couple tests and running the game, it doesn't feel that bad.
You can still gun people down on their purple buffs and all that kind of stuff.
I like that.
Thank God. I was really worried that supports weren't going to be able to gun me down at my red buff, but good to know that that'll still happen. Ven, how about for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's some decent changes for it and nerf on the top mages and stuff, so it will feel pretty good. I'm excited to get more testing in and stuff.
Definitely. Twig?
I think it is really impactful in the way that I'd say that the game accelerates way quicker, and one of the best, I'd say, I always said this, but the biggest power spike you get as a jungler is probably just building boots. And usually you back a little bit earlier than the other roles, and you have a 1.5 minute period to run to a lane, try to kill them. And if you don't really do that, then you'll just get less and less effective as the game goes on until you're useless at level 20 against a support with 1 million peel items and 2 carries who one-shot you much faster than you one-shot them. And it just creates, I think there'll be less of a window to really bully a specific lane. But we'll see. I think jungle's got different buffs, so we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think that, Nico, we'll get to you in a second, solo laner, whatever. The duo laners, I mean, that was a huge complaint the last 2 years, was that junglers would show up with full boots and just absolutely roll you over. Now, you'll still probably be slightly slower since it's movement speed per level, but you should theoretically be able to get away now, right, Bobby?
Yeah, it'll feel a little bit better as long as they're not going like an early movement speed item like stone cutting. I think stone cutting might be a little bit of a problem to like deal with.
I've got good news for you, Bobby. We've got a stone cutting nerf coming.
Nice, that's huge.
I've got some confirmed PTS changes, but we'll go over those in a little bit. Nika, let's get your reaction on the removal of boots.
For solo lane, I think no tank boots is pretty good on paper, right? Maybe more solo kills, but when you really think about it, we're going to be rushing defense items anyway. Mystical Mail probably is going to be like a big one. Sledge, people have been trying because it's kind of like budget tank boots. I'm kind of worried that like back timing is going to be super awkward in solo. Like, you're not really going to have good power spikes until like, I don't know, like level 8, 9, honestly. I don't know. I feel like the lane is going to be really slow unless people are skipping starters. Maybe we'll see masks being built more, you know, Fighter's Mask. Maybe that's actually going to be good now.
Were you a hater for it?
I was the guy who started it.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay.
But I don't think it's good. Unless you're doing it like Osiris.
So you intentionally trolled the entire FPL?
Yeah. No,
making them think it was good.
Bored. I was bored of the old patch. So I'm like, oh, I'll build Rangers. It sounds fun. I think it's good on some gods, but now I think it actually might be really high value because it gives you that like warrior tabby power spike kind of that you didn't really get before. So
sure. Speaking about starters, I wanted to go around the table and talk about those in general because I think that, you know, it made a lot of sense before. You build your starter because your boots power spike is a little bit lower and a little bit slower to kind of bridge that gap. Now that you can just rush directly into items, like Twig, do you think that, I mean, you kind of need one in the jungle the vast majority of the time, but how much do you think that you're expecting to see it across the game right now?
Junglers definitely won't. I expect that most lanes, apart from maybe solo laners, won't rush an item. Maybe you'll see mids rushing like a stacking item, but like I'd expect that the starter items are really, really good. Like I'd say at least for jungle it feels great because before you couldn't really buy mannequins mace because it cost 750, which is over 100 more than the other two, and you could not buy boots for like 5 minutes. And so now you can actually buy mannequins without dooming your team into not having a boots jungler for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it got some changes as well, right? It got a little bit of a buff on the patch.
Yeah, it got a buff to boot, so it's pretty sweet now. You get 3 options rather than 2.
Love to hear it. Ven, how about you in mid? Do you think that starters are going to be the way to go, or do you think you're going to be rushing some items?
I think it's always kind of like unique for mid. Like usually some people go starters, some people don't. Like Bancroft's rush might be pretty good. Book of Thoth rush and Warlock's rush might all be unique, but Vamp Shroud did get buffed. So early game, I think you have 15 prots now on the early game, so that's actually really big in the mid 2v2. So that might be purchased more, and you might see more lifesteal builds come into play. And then there's also the double flat pen build as well that you might just rush like a flat pen item and just be like one-shotting. So there's definitely a bunch of options.
Vamp Shroud getting better. Jean-Qui going to start winning games any day now.
Hey, sooner or later. I mean, surely it will work at some point, you know. You just keep running it until it works.
Someone has got to win eventually on that
exactly.
That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
Bobby, you were talking a little bit earlier about what you would be rushing. I imagine supports between War Flag buff, Sentinels, like all that kind of stuff. You kind of need a support starter item over there.
Yeah, you just need some sort of gold splaying item. Mid sounds so much fun having all these options.
He was listing off all these choices. I'm like, damn, that
6 options.
I saw it and I was like, yep, I'm rushing an item, that's for sure.
Either Benevolence rush out of base and just try to farm as much by not farming other lanes.
Perfect. That's what we want from you.
Yeah, awesome. But I think the War Flag change was nice, and I think the Sentinels change was actually pretty nice too. But I think Benevolence is just still, it just gives too much that there's really no downside other than a weak level 1, 2, 3 really. And after that, you're kind of just as strong as you would be with Warlocks and Sentinels.
Do you think that the Benevolence is too strong or that the Compassion is too good? Do you think that it's more the starter or the upgrade?
I think after they buffed Compassion, it's both of them. But before they buffed it and gave it gold to Compassion, you would just hold on to Benevolence literally until 20 because it just gave you so much farm. And now that they buffed Compassion and gave it the 8 gold per 5 or whatever it was, they're both pretty strong now, and I think they're just the 2 strongest starters for support.
Does anyone miss Sentinel's Boon here? Any missers?
I think Boon's good.
Yeah, I like Boon.
Dude,
before
Boon's
it
fun.
was fixed or like
Okay,
when it was broken, that was fun.
Prefix Boon was really
fun.
fun.
Solo with Boon was
But we all
fun.
surely missed the Embrace meta as well, where the carries were just super tanky all the time.
I think that Compassion is making carries like more tanky than
really?
Than Embrace. I guess it kind of depends on what gods you're playing. If you're on a god that does like damage over time mainly, then Compassion is way harder to deal with than Embrace.
Interesting. Barry, how about for over an ADC? You think you're going to be going different starters? Leather Hunter's Cowl got a little buff.
Yeah, I was gonna ask why.
Well, no one's buying it.
Wait, it actually gives every stat now.
Yeah,
right?
it does.
It's literally, it doesn't make sense. I saw that I was watching the patch notes and I was like, why? Like, it made that starter so unique. And I mean, it was kind of bad in a way, but it gave you so many other stats.
Well, it sucked, but it was cool.
It didn't suck because
I think
with
it was-
trans, it was like, oh, now I could actually go Hunter's Cowl, right? But now
Yeah.
it gives you
But
everything.
no one was going Hunter's Cowl with it, right?
Well, they were all building correctly anyway, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, I got it now. You guys are just building wrong.
Yeah, I think starter items and ADC are still really good. I mean, there's a few characters you can do like a trans 2 start, do that start. I don't think anyone's ever going to do Devo's 2. That just would feel really weird unless you're playing like Jing or something and you can fly back, obviously. The main thing I was doing was just attack speed rush builds, and those felt by far the best. I did some experimenting with different starters, but nothing felt like vastly different from the previous patch.
What around the table? What was your favorite first item that you bought? Like the most successful, rush item that trying to give some players who are just going to get their hands on it when it goes live, something like that. What would you recommend ADCs build first item?
Ichval was a starter item.
Ichval seems pretty good to me. Bobby?
Sob with Benevolence.
Sov, okay.
Bancrofts with probably Sands.
Okay.
Definitely stone cutting, sword, slam dunk.
Yep, stone cutting for free.
If you're playing like Kakol and Arthur, I'd go Bluestone Mystical. If I'm playing like Osiris, I'd go like Stone Cutting, probably. Wukong and Tsukiyomi, I was going Trans Soul Eater back to back. And that felt pretty fun.
I'm sure that was fun for you. Yeah, I don't know about the backline.
And if you're against a Guardian, honest, and a physical jungler, I think Sledge is really good as well with a starter.
Sledge is definitely good to note. As I mentioned, there are some PTS changes coming. We're recording this before all those get announced. Recording this on the Monday, the 28th. So I do have some notes. You mentioned stone cutting, Twig. Here's what's going to be happening to stone cutting. Cost gets 100 gold extra, I believe, or maybe this is right. Cost decreased. What is it right now? Is it 2350?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so it's actually, I don't know about that. I'm not going to touch that. Here's what I know is going to happen. Because I'm confused. Sometimes the patch notes doc, it's a little rough. We'll leave that to the editors. Decrease the protection debuff and buff that you get from 10 to 7 per stack. So instead of getting 30, you're going to get 21 prots stolen that you take from them and that you get yourself. How does that affect stone cutting?
I think it affects it quite a great deal. Already you have to make the choice when you build stone cutting to build that over an item that I would say scales a little bit better into the late game. Let's say a high power item or an item with a lot of pen on the, like flat pen on the item without having to hit your autos first. It'll fall off quite hard. 20 pen doesn't really do anything later on into the game. People's, even carries base procs goes up to the point where they'll still have tons of defense after like 3 procs of stone cutting, which you'll never get. So I'd say it's a choice. It'll still be better than most items you can build for the first, let's say, 8 levels, but it'll fall off a lot harder and it'll be more of a risky item to build.
Interesting. Yeah, I still think with the changes to heavy mace, like that in playtesting, that was a big thing, was that junglers were just rushing heavy mace. You get 10 flat pen right off the bat, and you just get to one-shot whoever you go on. And the same thing with Enchanted Spear for mages. So I think that those made a lot of sense to nerf, but stone cutting probably will still, in my mind, feel like the best thing that you can rush. Especially, I mean, if you go like mannequin stone cutting Erlong, you're probably not missing the 9 prots that much, at that point.
Absolutely not. You'll feel amazing there until you start building Serrated Edge, Titan's Bane, pen items late game that don't stack at all with stone cutting, and you're just watching yourself do a little bit less than if that stone cutting was a Kins or something that just scales a little better.
Yep. While we're on the topic of things that are getting changed in the PTS, Bera, this one affects you a decent amount. Transcendence, the cost goes from 2600 or 2450 to 2600. That's a revert from the 8.6 patch. Darn. How much does that change Hunter builds?
If you want to build trans, you're going to build trans.
Cool.
I don't think that changed before. It was just a quality of life buff, in my opinion, for the Bluestone trans Hunter build path.
Yep.
I don't think it was super influential. It just felt really good
Yeah.
You just got it online a little faster.
And Ven, for you, Staff of Mirrodin is something that a lot of people have been talking about. That is getting a nerf, losing 10 power, 95 to 85, decrease the uncapped CDR from the passive, or from the proc from 80% to 70%, and decrease the time to decay from 7 to 4 seconds. And it feels like that's the biggest
that's
change,
gonna
is
be a
that
big one for
decay
sure.
time.
Yeah.
Still probably going to be pretty good, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to burn really fast, so you're not going to get like as much value as you would before, where you could just do 2 abilities. Like, you're just going to be use 1 ability, then that will be reduced, and then the other ones are just going to be lower. But yeah, I don't know. It's still pretty expensive. I think it's 2,800 still.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So it's still going to be an interesting with the builds that are going to happen and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, these are all subject to change, all that kind of stuff. That's what we're working with right now. But I was approved to let some of these go, as well as Sunder, because I wanted to go to relics. Sunder increased the cooldown from 90 to 110 and decreased the stacking damage from 7% to 5%. That affects like 3 of you here, because it seemed like Sunder, in the PTS games I was seeing, we were seeing a ton of Sunder. Is this version with the 2 charges still better than the current Sunder that's in live right now?
I mean, I think it depends. I think it just kind of changes how you're going to be using it. Before, if you bought Sunder early, a lot of it was just for that early damage at the beginning or to destroy a shield.
Yep.
And now you can kind of just use it whenever. If they're half, if they're a third, it'll feel better now. You don't have to actually upgrade it to get that extra damage.
I think it's there's a lot more opportunities now to use Sunder compared to like the 1 charge. Even in lane, just walking into lane, double Sundering someone, it's actually such a good start to the trade, right? Like you just, I mean, I think it's definitely stronger, but like also it's not that terrible for tanks to buy now, and it's pretty good into carries always. Like doing extra damage is never bad, so it's not that bad honestly as a tank.
Does it unlock like Nike, because that character was just destroyed by old Sunder?
I guess a little bit, but I mean you could still get double Sundered and most of your shield's gone. But
but then support's got to hit 2 skill shots.
Yeah,
in a row.
true. I guess it feels a little bit better to play the god. Maybe we'll see her. I think she's pretty good in lane and stuff. So
Yeah.
I guess it kind of just depends on the players if they want to play that god.
Yeah, nobody wants to play that god. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's kind of
Well, Uzi wants to.
True. Artio too.
Yeah, I mean we know he's on it. How about some other relic changes? The meditation rework.
I've been building that a lot.
How have you been liking it?
I've been loving it. I've been getting it on like Guan a lot, and just I've been getting it on Guardians a lot, and it just lets you stay in lane long enough for a full item usually. Like you get maybe 2 or 3 uses of it before you need to back for a full item. It just lets you stay there. It's good for blue fights. You have like, if you poke one guy out, you and your jungler just all in a blue, you have extra sustain. I think it's pretty, I think it's a pretty good change. I think we'll maybe see it in support as well. Like duo lane trades if you have that extra healing. It's not like a crazy amount, but it's like 100 or 200 extra health. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's 4 pulses, 8 plus 5% missing health per pulse. Bobby, have you bought it at all?
Yeah, I bought it 1 game and died 4 times in the laning phase.
Was that meditation's fault?
No, it was me. I died. I was Nox and I had only my 2 and I would just die as soon as I walked up. He played Erlang.
Let me write that one down. Nox plus med. No. Okay, I got that.
Nox without mad though.
Knocks it out.
Write that one down too.
Sure. Yep. Nox. No med. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. We got that on. We got that there. What do you think though? I mean, like on a maybe more traditional Guardian, do you think med is going to be good?
I think the problem is it's not like a scaling heal, which makes it very good late game. And I think it's just not something you want early game that much from dual lane. You just want more, I don't know, engage from like a blink. And I think that's the biggest thing is there's just kind of better relics. But I do think it has a place now in the meta.
Can you get it at 12 instead of level 1? Then?
Yeah, I think 12 is a little bit more likely. It allows like you to play an actual heal comp without a healer. Like the meta will just be your healer, which it'll actually feel pretty nice if you need to match the enemy's healing and you have no healing of your own.
Yeah. Bear, as a backliner, do you want your support to be picking up meditation?
Probably not.
What about Bracer?
We'll
get Bracer.
Yeah, I think there's like 8 better relics. I mean, it's a cute change, but Sunder's like 6 of those.
Yeah, it's charges 1 of Sunder, that's the first 3, and then the second charge of Sunder is the next 3.
Yeah, I just think Sunder's too good. I think Meditation might have a place, like Bobby was saying, in like versus healing comps, but it's a missing health, right?
Missing health, yep.
I think that makes it way worse. I think if it was of total health, it would have way more of a place, but missing health makes it way too weird to utilize in an actual game.
Yeah.
And it can be anti-healed as well, right?
It can be
Yeah,
anti-health,
so that's kind of rough stuff.
That is rough, for sure.
Though, the upgrade does reduce your cooldowns.
Yeah, 0.5 seconds off your CDs for each
4
pulse, so you get
pulses.
2 seconds off flat your cooldowns.
That with Mirrodin, you're literally like casting.
I think it has a niche spot.
I did
nothing,
get those
nothing
too.
crazy.
Yeah.
I think in support's gonna be rough because like Girdle, Sunder,
Yeah, Sunder Girls.
horrific sometimes. Blink
Yep.
obviously.
Still even beads.
Blink takes up a slot pretty much,
Yep.
right? And beads sometimes. So I don't know. Maybe we won't see that much. Bracer?
Bracer's
Sucks.
gone. Yeah, gone.
The new one.
Oh,
right?
the new one.
The
Well, I was
new
going to
one.
ask you about it in a minute, but I want to get Twig's thoughts on meditation.
Oh,
if there's any jungler that might be willing to experiment.
I think it's going to get. It's obviously got buffed, but it probably is going to get worse. The only reason you won't get anti-heal before is because a mage or a jungler didn't have enough slots in their build, but now with no boots, you'll see brawlers and divine every game probably if you see much healing plus med.
Yeah, makes sense.
I do think maybe they should upgrade the percent heal by a little bit, or make it true health or
max health.
what's it called, health, because they have the anti-heal on the field. So if you don't have the divine or brawlers proc on you, you're going to have the out of combat anti-heal on you. So it just needs. I think it needs just a little bit more healing.
Sure.
Yeah.
But is that type of healing? You know, we get a lot of feedback all the time that healing
not very
meta
healthy for
sucks.
the
Like
game.
no one
I think
likes
that's like
it.
a healthy healing. Like
I think med, it's because you're
Yeah.
like losing a relic slot, right?
Yeah.
Like you're investing heavily into having that. I don't think it's that big of a problem.
Okay.
I think when the healing is on the gods and they lose nothing, they just exist and heal out of combat. That's when it's
Run
a
around
problem.
and be a healer boy.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be talking about Hell in a minute because she got some pretty good buffs, I think. But let's talk about Bracer of Radiance because I have not gotten a chance to play with this at all.
I don't think anyone's built it in my game.
You haven't been. Has
Did
anyone
you try it?
I haven't even seen it.
I tried
I'm not
it.
going to try it in solo.
I tried it in support and in solo.
How was it?
It was terrible. I don't like it.
It's what, 10%
Yeah.
power?
Yeah, let me read it because Lord knows I need to. You place a radiant glow at target location for 90 seconds. Allies who move through this field gain 10% increased power if above half health, or 10% movement speed if below half health for 8 seconds. This fragment also acts as a ward, and it can be destroyed, and if it's destroyed, the cooldown of the relic is reduced by 20 seconds. The base is 100 seconds. And the upgrade does all the same things, but that radiant glow now acts as a sentry ward. So you basically get it's a way to get an extra sentry in the inventory that, you know.
So you can have 3 down, right, with that? Yeah.
Yes,
So I
yes.
guess that's some niche
It's-
value to it, but I don't think it's
there's
worth
just better
it.
relics.
Yeah.
yeah.
The only spot I see it worth is if you're doing an objective shred comp
Yep.
and you don't want to have to put another sentry
And it's definitely
on
not
fire.
a level 1 relic, like
No,
10%.
no. Terrible.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
Girdle just be better though?
I mean, it is.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Girdle and Bracer.
I mean, Spartan flag as well, that gives you
And med.
10%, you know, people
Okay.
voting War flag now.
Shogun's got a buff.
Shogun's got a buff. Fafnir players everywhere, always excited. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it is kind of competing with Frenzy.
I think it's
for
an
that-
interesting concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think it's close. It's just,
when you compare it to the other relics, like they just bring way more. Or they do
there's-
the same thing.
But there's no duration. You know, if you put it down, let's say you've got Fire Pit control, right? You put it down, that's a Frenzy that lasts. That like your carry can just tap it and keep 10% power up the whole time.
It might be pretty sweet for a little poke comp. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, maybe.
Get the Chuck solo,
Little
throw some
Thoth,
axes.
yeah, a little Thoth,
Solo.
off mid, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, now we're talking.
Okay, wait. And it lasts for 100 seconds.
Yeah, but they can
Like
just
on the
deward it.
how big is it?
Well,
it's the size of a ward. I mean,
Oh.
it's smaller than the size of a ward. It's like, I think it's probably 30 units maybe. It's pretty
Okay.
small area, but you could walk into it and just keep refreshing.
Yeah, last
Yeah.
8 seconds. You know, you just Thoth, like step in that, throw your one over the
Then
wall.
you
Touch your little
Thoth.
bird foot.
Well, yeah, but you're playing Thoth, but he got a buff this patch.
You're also
didn't
playing
he?
Chuck, huh?
You're also playing Jack, and everyone's happy if you're playing Chuck at the end of the day. I don't know. Now that I'm like thinking about it, I agree that it certainly competes with Frenzy, but Frenzy is like you use it, and they know that they can engage, like they have to engage in that moment. You put this down, you're kind of putting like constant threat on Fire Giant, and I think that it is a different type of tension potentially.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it also is just 10% power until the late game. Hunters have like 300, so that's only adding 30 power, and I guess mages
Sure.
have 700,
Yeah,
600.
like
so it's not.
Frenzy gives you attack speed as well and,
and
penalty
pen,
upgrades.
and actually increased damage.
Yeah.
I think it's 10% increased damage. I could be wrong though.
Yeah.
But it feels just a lot better on objectives, even though it is something you have to
Yeah,
kind of use right
I think
away.
percent power increases are usually not that impactful. Like, they're kind of just whatever. You don't really ever feel it that much.
Unless it's Rod, which is like 130%.
True.
Yeah, you're feeling pretty good on the rod percent for sure. Let's talk about the new buff, or the 2 new buffs, I suppose, that have been added to the game. The
Support buffs.
support buffs. Well, we can start there. Green buff, baby. Bobby, how pumped are you to have a buff around your waist?
Honestly, I'm just happy it's easy to kill. Like, I can actually solo it sometimes if
Yeah.
I'm playing like a decent god.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it actually kind of hit like the correct spots which sports want. It just gives us a little extra sustain, so we're allowed to try to walk up and do some more aggressive stuff. A little extra health too. So I think it hit the correct spot for a support buff. I just think it is probably the weakest buff out of all of them.
Well, yeah, but you're the
As
support.
it should.
Yeah.
What the?
I mean, it is pretty cool, you know.
It's
You-
gr-
you can
Wait,
keep-
okay, it is the best color.
And green is the best color.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
So, I was
So
gonna
maybe it
say
is the
that.
best buff.
So it's the best buff already. I mean, I think it's pretty good. You get 50 health and mana flat, plus 30 for every 50 total procs after that. That's not nothing.
No, I mean it's a decent buff, but like you'll stop a fire giant fight for your mid to go get his red buff.
Well, yeah, but he deserves it.
Can we get a different
But you might
goal
want,
here?
you might want the green buff because it keeps it going.
That's
Keeps the
true.
red buff
Yeah,
going.
it
keeps
should- it should
going.
help
Wait, how does
Yeah.
it work? Is it
So whenever you're near
Near
allied
someone.
buffs, they just don't count down.
so? But if they step outside that range,
It'll
so they
count
have
down
to.
again.
How big is the units? Is it like pretty big range?
I'm actually
The size
not
of
exactly
benevolence.
sure.
Benevolence. Okay. So I guess it's not that bad.
Is it multiple buffs?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
Every,
every.
that's
allied
in the
buff
area.
in the area
Yeah.
doesn't count
Oh, I
down.
thought it was only
It is a
one.
pretty
so
big deal, I feel.
Yeah.
Like.
It,
Yeah,
does,
it's
it does
actually pretty
like if you're pressuring like red buffs and stuff like that, and you're standing near the mid laner and jungler, like you can stall the invades and stuff like that with it. Like if you're standing near it, so your person has red buff and speed buff, so they don't need to do the.
So you're not going to be super annoyed when your support's like, "Yo, help me get green."
No,
You're
yeah.
gonna be like,
Come on
"All
over, short me. Come on, come into the mid lane. Keep my red buff on me.
You get to keep your purple buff in lane for like,
2 minutes.
and yeah, the
See
whole
you later,
time.
Jake.
Yeah, I guess Jake's
Wait, Jake's not
sticking
picking
on
up the green. He's picking up the enemy red.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, for you guys on the other side of the map, probably not super impactful
not
for,
really.
for green.
It's another camp to kill, which I do love the mid-season patch in that respect, that they added like 18 different little camps to kill. So jungle will probably feel a little bit more like jungle. I mean, I do hate going to mid or any lane to share because there's nothing on the map to do.
I can tell by how often Big Man Tings gets to solo clear his waves. How much it's already gone. It's a thing of the past. Let's talk about the big buff then on the duo side, the Draugr. Initial reactions, Barrett. You get a little side lane back over there.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool change, but I've played like 10 PTS games and I haven't felt its impact, like the buff it actually gives you. I haven't felt that do anything.
It's definitely a little weird, right? Because if you have the
Yeah.
pressure and you get it, it does nothing.
Yeah, it does.
It literally
Yes.
does nothing for you.
Well, you get global golden XP.
I'm not gonna lie,
Right.
I haven't like realized that my team's done it like
Yeah,
once in any of the games, and people are still ganking solo in my games. So it's like they didn't add anything.
Mika, you're getting ganked
Yeah, it's crazy.
on your games?
There's like 3 camps on the other side of the map that got added, but no one's going there. Other than Panda played one in-house with us, and Genetics just camped his lane completely, and and then he just stopped queuing.
Hey, that's how it is sometimes. I mean, I guess I should read it for everyone if they don't know at home. The Draugr buff gives you your towers and phoenixes receive a stacking buff. It's 7% power and 5% damage reduction for each allied god in the radius. Max of 3 gods, so max of 21% power and 15% damage reduction. It lasts 240 seconds. It just feels to me, it's on off of duo side. There's now a little like island over there. Your team's getting rolled. Enemy team gets fire giant. You got to get Draugr, right?
True,
Like
yeah.
it should help in those instances. But I do agree that it's not meant to help snowball the game, in your favor, but to prevent you from getting snowballed upon. Maybe. Do you think it can be impactful in that role?
I mean, I just think like if the other team's doing fire, you're not going to say go do Draugr. You're going to try to defend.
Well,
Defend fire,
yeah,
right?
it's like
Unless you're like so far down.
Yeah.
It's a scarab buff right there.
yeah, but then like if you're trying to defend it, like surely if you die, you're not getting that buff.
We're down 300 gold. Fire Giant's up. Steve's like, just give it up. We'll go get the Draugr.
Well, that's
I got more
closer to
fun on my
his
way.
Exactly. I got to show my wave. We'll get the Draugr on the way back. We're good.
Their Fire Giant doesn't matter at that point. You got
That's literally his
Draugr.
comms the entire time. It's fire. It's early fire. It doesn't matter. Just give it up.
So you're going to be getting Draugr more. Draugr control is going to be big for this.
I think that's a good trade for us. Draugr for Fire Giant. We'll take that.
We're fine. We'll defend it.
We're behind.
Right. What are they going to do? They get fire. Who cares?
They take Draugr over fire.
Right.
Better buff.
I do think that at least in the playtest that I got a chance to play, it was like, oh, we could like have a 10% chance of getting this fire, or we could go get Draugr, like maybe get gold and Draugr on the other side of the map and set up a little bit more defense. I think that it has some potential to add some variety on the map play, potentially.
I think also if games get like very duo heavy and you have like a low pressure solo laner and he's getting dove a lot or something, like maybe having that buff like enables you to play like lower pressure picks maybe. You can like camp
Soul
on the
laner's
tower,
getting
be
dove a
chilling.
lot. Who would care about that? Yeah, I guess.
Just get the totem.
I can't.
True.
Yeah, if it allows your soul laner to get totem,
All I want is the totem.
that would be a pretty big deal. It is also worth noting that a lot of these objectives did get tankier with this update. I'm trying to get the exact numbers here.
Yeah, that was definitely needed.
Yeah, Fire Giant gets 300 extra health and 10 extra physical protection and magical protection. Gold Primal and Oni Fury get an extra 250 health and 5 prots. Oracles get a little bit tankier. Lots of different changes to Alpha Harpies and things like that. How much does that matter? Like Fire getting tankier?
It didn't really impact me because I felt like my power spikes were way sooner than before. So I felt like I was doing way more damage across the map, but basically all stages.
Yeah, the game should be faster as well.
Yeah.
So you probably do need that buff. It might need it more because you can probably shred objectives like really, really
Yeah,
easy.
people rush crit and ADC as well.
And stone cutting,
Yep.
buff, XE,
Yeah, stone
like
cutting,
all that
obviously,
stuff.
then
You're just gonna shred
might
objectives
need
like crazy.
more-
Yeah.
More defense on those.
All right, let's go over some of these gods because a lot of god changes. I assume that there's tons of them. I haven't memorized all of them. I'm assuming you guys haven't memorized all of them, so feel free to ask if you need me to clarify. But I know one man who doesn't need any clarification. Young Nika over there knows all of his god buffs. So tell me about how much the Amma change affects her going forward.
Hardly affect, especially the 2 change. You never really had any issues stacking up Amy's 2 anyway. I mean, sure, it's gonna feel nicer, but it doesn't make her a better god.
Yep.
The ult base damage, it's a revert, I'm pretty sure.
I think so,
When
yeah.
she was at her like peak, she had.
It's 20 base damage at max rank.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna feel great. Obviously, the damage amplifies per hit as well.
Yep.
But I don't think the god's issue was her ultimate. I think her laning phase was just super weak. I think maybe there's a little bit of potential for her to come back, but I still think she'll get pretty heavily outpressured by Arthur Cacolin. I'm sure we'll still see them.
Sure.
Personally.
Awesome.
Here we go again. Arthur Cacullen. Let's go, baby. Love to hear it. I had a different way to do this, but I think this is actually better. Let's just go god by god, and we'll go with each role that it can affect. So Bobby, Amma buffs. I mean, maybe that change to more easily charge up the Heavenly Reflection is more important for you than it is in solo. Do you think that you can play her in support?
Yeah, I mean, I think the 2 is actually pretty big for support because you usually can't get your autos off. And I don't think she was ever really a bad support. It's just she didn't have like the pressure, the same thing in solo. She didn't have the pressure of a Ymir, Sobek, Emoja.
Sure.
So I think it puts her in a better spot, and maybe you'll see a little bit of her around objectives too, but we'll have to see.
Have to see. Barry, Artemis, this one's only for you. Trap base damage went up by 2. It's 10 at rank 1. It ends just barely higher at the top rank. I don't know how many ticks there are. It's Artemis Trap, who cares? And decrease the cooldown by 4 seconds at level 1, though, so that matters a lot. 18 to 10 from 14 to 10. And she got increased movement speed on the 2, 20% to 25%, and decreased the cooldown by 2 seconds, 18 to 14 to 16 to 14. So any Tuskies that won't
I will
obey the
yell every
commands of the
time.
future?
The biggest buff he needs is Tusky AI working for him.
Okay, Tusking AI works. Okay,
Well, not for him,
Bro.
It's actually
For
terrible
not
for him.
you, okay, no, for you,
And maybe
not,
because
but-
it's an old account.
Yeah.
right, yeah, old account hasn't updated it quite
Wait,
yet.
what was that? Odin that used to have that for the old accounts, like new accounts thing.
There was something.
Yeah.
It was Ganesh. It was Ganesh.
It
You
was
couldn't
Ganesh.
silence Odin jump.
Yeah.
If you have an old account,
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
testing that in jungle practice for like an hour.
if you up
before.
down on Odin and you have an older account and you're Ganesh and you silence it, it won't
It's
silence.
actually
That was a
thing.
big thing like 3 years ago, 3 years ago.
Surely that's been fixed, right? What
Who
is
knows?
going?
But that was definitely a thing.
My
I
mind
remember
is
that.
blown right now. Okay, so for all current accounts, I guess that's a stipulation I've got to do. Does this matter for Artemis?
I think it's a very, very, very good change because a lot of your kill pressure in lane was getting the trap at level 2, and I think the cooldown is actually insane on Artemis trap, and because I would troll in ranked with like fail not malice builds to just spam traps in team fights, and it felt so good. And the movement speed change in R2 is really good as well. I think she just became very good.
Am I remember correctly that on the podcast you once told me that you are the best Artemis trapper?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I can hit that skill shot easier than like a Cupid heart bomb.
So you can
every
peel
day.
for me with that?
Yeah, you
No.
Okay.
Well, he's not good enough, apparently.
What the heck,
I don't know.
man?
All right.
Yeah.
Well, watch out, because Barry's going to be putting out his best Artemis traps in the world 4 seconds sooner than he was before. Baba Yaga, then, decreased the cooldown on her 3 by 2 seconds and increased shield health and knockback strength on the ultimate. So not a lot of damage, but some more survivability for her.
Yeah, she should be like good. She's been small buffed, I think, what, 3 times
yeah, she's been
now?
buffed
Like
a
over the
lot.
3 patches?
Yep.
I mean, the biggest thing for me with her is just her ult. It like, you either get like a big tree in your face, you can't see it, to wait for like health bars to appear somewhere,
Yep.
or you just get stuck on things, and you're just like, well. And I think last patch as well, her house would get stuck on the vines, and it wouldn't move until you killed the vine.
That's great.
So you just have to wait until someone killed the vine, and then your house would come to you.
Well, surely Jake was on that for you, right?
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
The vine's gone. It's another buff.
Yeah,
It's true.
it should be good for her because I was actually playing in ranked once and the vine spawned and I ulted and I just stood there and I was like, well, I can't play.
That is unfortunate. So yeah, let me write that down as well. Baba buff, vines gone. So
Yeah,
we
that is
like
true.
that
It's a
for
small
her.
buff. Yeah. There
Small
you
buff
go.
for Baba.
I think the stacking earlier too thing will be pretty big for
Yeah,
us.
I think that
That's a
god
really good
has
point.
to be good.
Yeah.
With-
She's had so many.
Yeah.
buffs.
I think
With
she
Book
just
Rush,
feels awkward
Warlocks
to play
Rush and
sometimes,
stuff,
right?
yeah.
But her damage is crazy. She's
Yeah.
not the easiest to dive.
She's also
Her late game, like,
That
she
knockback
chunks.
now is
I'm gonna say
insane
it.
as
Yeah.
well.
She didn't need the buff.
Yeah,
agreed.
I agree.
Retweet.
She's so hard to kill.
Yeah.
She's one of the hardest gods to kill while also being able to kill you at the same time.
Yep.
for sure.
I mean, she has. she can do 5 things of damage in like
Yeah.
4
I'm
seconds.
pretty
'cause
sure
she has 2 fronts
Sunder
for two.
wasn't like good right now. She would be OP. Like
A
actually.
Sunder
mage,
is definitely
a mage
really
with
good.
a
Yeah.
dash, immunity in her kit, and tons of damage, it creates this like thing that Persephone had, which is just hard to beat, basically, and hard to dive. Same with Raijin. It's like
She also has.
you never want those gods to be good, and you never want those gods to be good
I
against tanks. Because it's like, where's their weakness? They can dash out of any walls, they can go CC immune
Randomly
for Ares or
silence
whatever.
you.
That's-
and
random
they will
factor,
solo
yeah.
your tanks. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, no one wants those gods to be good.
Except for me.
I feel like mid laners complain about the randomness of her one a lot. It is the
Yeah.
worst thing to deal with
Hey.
as a frontliner.
Just
It is
not
the
knowing what's
worst thing.
coming at you is so
Well, it's like it's annoying
frustrating.
when you get like an oval and someone's like right in front of you and
Yeah,
it just goes like this. It just goes right around them and you're like, well, I'm
the
dead.
skill shot.
Whip it.
Just whip it.
I personally have never been that upset about I think the randomness of the one, like, that's how
I
it
think
is.
the effects for like if you're Raijin and you face a Baba and then she gets silenced on
Oh,
the wave
yeah, you're
one
just-
and you're just
you're
like,
screwed.
well,
Yeah.
I guess I lose the lane now.
Yeah, that definitely feels very
Yeah,
bad
that is
playing
some rough
against Baba,
stuff.
for sure. All right, another mid laner up next, and maybe a little bit of solo lane and support potential. For Baron Samdi, increased the Hysteria from his basic attacks from 2 to 5, increased Hysteria from 10 to 15 on his 1, and added power debuff duration to the description. Don't know why I read that. And decreased the cooldown on its 2. It was 15 to 11, now 13 to 11. Who wants to play Baron first between the 3 of you guys?
Yeah, the
I love
auto,
that
it's
guy.
the best in
the
solo.
auto change should
Yeah.
be big for solo.
I
right?
think that those are really big solo changes.
Yeah.
And I mean, if people stop playing Arthur Cucullin, Osiris is next up, and Baron is historically like one of the best matchups into that god. So maybe we could see a bit more. He's super fun to play, and he has like a risk reward. I think he's like the perfect type of mage to have viable in solo, and I'm never gonna complain about him being back. I missed him.
Yeah, I love Baron.
Yeah, the only
Ben?
thing that's rough is the Baron's Brew moves the item shop.
That is- that
unfun
is-
part.
My teammates have never not complained
Yeah.
about that. Every
Like you lock it in, you're good, but you're griefing as well because the item shops move.
I think
yeah.
Fine played it, and I saw like Sam by Hand of the Gods at 17
I
minutes.
actually remember that.
And I was like, oh, it's because he was like auto buying something and had to like sell it. And I'm sure he was like, oh my God, Alec, like why are you playing this god? I can just imagine it. How much do you think it helps him in support, Bobby?
I mean, I think the second biggest buff to him was in the support role because
it should be solo and support the biggest. The auto change, that's bigger for
exactly.
them.
Yes.
And the heal, it just provides a lot of extra safety. I just don't think Baron's kit, with how mid is right now, fits mid lane very well. But I think it's very strong for solo. And then just being able to reduce the damage is probably the biggest in support because it gives you that extra layer of utility that a lot of other mages won't have.
Right.
They'll just have like a little bit of peel from CC or like ESET's giant heal mitigation thing.
Sure.
But I think it's actually a pretty decent change. It's just, there's really no item to rush in support for mages. Because if you go like a binding, you're not having any health. If you go Sov, you have no power, no cooldown.
Tyrannical got a,
Yeah,
I don't remember
I've
what
been
it
building
is.
that.
Has it felt good?
Yeah, it's felt great.
They get cooldown from blue buff though, so
true.
they don't need to build a cooldown item. It just feels really bad when you have super long cooldowns. But I guess he's got a couple of cooldown buffs, so maybe it won't feel that bad.
Sure, fair enough. Ven, mid lane,
I mean, it's
just
mostly
same thing?
just side
Biggest
lane
matchups
changes.
just suck in mid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You also can get like blinked on die early and stuff like.
fair enough.
Especially stone cutting it out.
Yeah, stone cutting pretty good against that god. So can Dodgy can also be pretty good against him, and Dodgy got a buff. 13 to 11 on the 2.
She is getting power creeped up a little bit, and I'm very vocal about characters that you don't really want to be good. Same as I just said about the mid laners. Daji's a weird kind of necessary evil. I'd put a kind of where Ares is in support, but a little better, where they keep characters honest. You can't just pick 4 characters with no CC immunity and just like run the game, maybe run it down with pressure picks. Let's say Erlang, for example, is a good god that he needs characters like Daji who keep him honest with CC immunity. Does she need as many buffs as she's had? Definitely not. She got scaling on her 3 and her 2 earlier this year. Transcendence, I guess, is getting reverted, so that might not be a big issue, but Serrated Edge, the fact that you don't have to build boots so you get an extra damage item, slap a Heartseeker where the boots would go. I mean, it's just, it's hard to beat sometimes, especially when she gets ahead, and she's got CC immunity. She's pretty hard to kill. Her 2's deceptively good, and that's the buff that she just got 2 on, so she can 2 a camp, run to, you know, where maybe she gets ambushed in the jungle, have a 2 up again. It'll definitely help. I just don't know if she's a god that people want in the meta, really.
For sure. I think
Especially as a backliner.
It's also because she's gotten a lot of buffs to just help her early game, right? And that was like the one time where you could like abuse the god and make sure she doesn't like get way too ahead.
She has the best power scaling of any assassin.
Yeah, now I feel like she doesn't really have like a straight up weakness that you can look towards.
She does. It's 1 to 4 is basically when you pressure her, but it's like it's kind of hard
it's pretty difficult, right? Yeah.
What farm are you going to steal when there's 18 camps on the map?
Yeah.
Right. Gotta go get that green buff.
I think
steal a green buff, keep her honest.
I think she's just like a frustrating god to have in the game, right? I mean, it forces tanks to go beads as well a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Which
you would.
I don't want to. Trust me, I don't want
It's
to.
like playing against Heim. You either just get sent to Niflheim if you don't go beads, and that's gonna be the same with Dodgy.
And with like just one shots carries if they don't use relics well, and that's never funny.
Blink 1, Hydra's proc 1 shot.
I just think like every buff
almost got to play.
every buff they've done have just like made her weaknesses just disappear.
I think she had a niche place, right?
Yeah, she was played
Like
this.
Twig said, if you pick 4 non-CC immune characters, I mean, sure, slam Daji and she's great. But you shouldn't just be able to play Daji whenever and like...
like this phase, she was picked. Like she was like niche pick all over.
And with the Ares comment, like Ares has his weaknesses. I feel like Dodgy's weaknesses are just disappearing now slowly but surely.
Sure. Fair enough. All right, next up on the list is Hachiman. And Bera, this one's for you. Increase the ammo count. Now he has 4 shots on his 1 all the time. Cooldown goes down on the 1, and mana cost. That one mattered a lot for him, of course.
I was about to say that literally
Infinite mana, man.
Also, this buff does matter a lot, I think. 10% more scaling on Heavenly Banner, that's his 2, and increase the attack speed. It was 5 to 15%, now it's 10 to 20%. It looks to me like that's a huge buff to Hachi.
It is a gigantic buff. Before he was just the neutral kind of. I look at him like Mario, like he's like all around. Like he's never great at like anything in particular, but if you want like a decent hunter pick, he can do everything like decently well. But I think that actually makes him a bit more meta, and I think the boots removal makes him better as well. I think getting an attack speed item early makes him way better as well.
Interesting. You think that matters more for him than other hunters?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because it gets him to his like mid-game power spike faster, in my opinion.
Okay. And I guess he's got pretty good all-in in comparison,
Yep.
like early to mid-game, so that makes sense to get
And
him something like Ichabod.
Being able to apply Ichabod on your one is very good for laning phase.
Yep. Makes sense to me. All right, time for my favorite buff of the whole patch. This Hades buff, I love. I love it, okay? Decrease the cooldown on his 3 from 11 to 10, but the spicy one. His ultimate, now whenever it damages an enemy, that includes minions, all of Hades' other abilities have their cooldowns reduced by 0.2 seconds. So if you get someone in a fat minion wave, you could like blink, 3, ult, cancel it, 3 them.
But it doesn't do anything.
What do you mean? I double 3'd them, Nika.
Yeah, okay, so Hades, his 2 is really good. That is actually one of the...
That ability is broken.
That is a really strong ability. But
Yes.
his 1 is his 1's decent, right?
Yeah?
His 3's not great without creeps, and you're going to be full clearing the wave with your ult. You're going to 3 him for like 200 damage times 2. I mean, I just don't think
That's
it's
big.
I just don't think it's as impactful as... I think it's a cool change. It's an interesting change. But I don't think with this current kit he'll ever be amazing.
You don't think you're going to be slamming Hades solo?
I'll try it.
It's
I'll
guaranteed
try it,
pressure,
but
man.
Also, I mean, Tainted as well is really good into Hades now, especially.
Sure.
Sunder.
Like even... Yeah,
Sunder.
true.
Yep.
I don't know. He's just always been a god in my eyes. He just doesn't actually do anything, so I don't value him.
He 2-second fears the enemies.
That's it though. But like other than that,
seems pretty
he's just-
good.
Yeah, but then like you could pick another god that does like multiple things more than just fearing.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
I can just pick Morgan Le Fay and fear people from range.
That seems pretty good to me.
I think Hades is super fun to play, but whenever I play him, I just feel like I'm always getting interrupted out of all my abilities.
That is actually true as well.
It's like playing old on her. Whenever you try to jump, you're like, roar, roar,
He
roar.
has that like charge up to his 3, right?
And his
Yeah.
1.
And his 1.
Yeah, they
true,
both just get interrupted, and I think that's just like the thing holding him back. Like Smite's like picking up speed as a game, like everything is just moving faster, and Hades is still just lagging behind, kind of.
I think
Same problem with Zhong.
I think he might be a little better than because his 2 is his like admitted best ability. Let's say he can do his combo. Let's say blink 2-3.
Yeah.
Ult, maybe you get sundered while you're in your ult, and then you want your 2 up again. There's no tank boots going around, so you won't have like supports with 40%
That's
MIP,
true, yeah.
Yep.
crowd control reduction. So maybe you like blink in Fear Ganesh or something, or whatever support. And Ares might be the best. And then you do your 2-3 ult combo. You have your 2 up again if you've got like Pridwin, CDR, and they don't have maybe as much CCR. So maybe he's a bit better, but
You know where I think he's sleeper twig? I think he's kind of OP in jungle.
People
I really-
always say this, but
Dude, Sino has
Here's-
convinced me, man.
here's
He really
the issue.
has.
You're poddling around the jungle with 355 movement speed when all the assassins have way more movement speed, and now they don't even need boots to gain the % extra movement speed per level. So even speed buff, for example, does less for him than it does for any character with higher base movement speed. So you just, I don't know how Sino plays Isis without wanting to claw his eyes out, watching Isis scuttle around the jungle. But
Well, it's because every gank he does is successful instantly.
Yeah.
Because you've got OP ganks.
he's just too good.
combo.
Yeah.
Another thing with Hades, I just never know what to build on him. I feel like he doesn't have a reliable build path. If you go full tank, you are tanky but don't do anything. But
Right.
if you go full damage, you
get
might
one-tapped.
one-shot someone if you get lucky, but you'll get one shot in return. It's
Sure.
like it's not the same as like Jean Kui who can like build hybrid or Raijin solo. Full cooldown, you can go a little bit of hybrid.
We all
I'd be
know how
loving
good
that.
Raijin solo is.
He actually got
You
a
don't
big
have to
buff with the Vamp Shroud change and the upgrade.
He did get nerfed as well, though.
True, that actually is a big nerf, actually.
Boy, do I have a build for you.
Oh, here we go.
Dude, that blood-soaked Vamp Shroud, it's
Yeah.
just magical Glad Shield now.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's kind of crazy.
That's going to be good.
I actually like that change. You just build health on him, a lot of health and a lot of power, and that's literally all you need. I promise you. Just build like warlocks,
Well, you need
Pythags.
full cooldown.
Yeah.
And
Blue
then-
buff is 20%.
Yeah, you got
if
that.
If you get full.
Literally just go like warlocks, Pythags, Rod, and then like Pridwin and like another health item. And I swear,
There you go.
by the green buff I
You want
just
me to
got,
rip out a
that
page
is
for
the
you?
best
And
build.
I can write it down and rip out a page for you.
Right next to the Knox with Med.
Yeah, here we go. Health
Health
Hades.
goods.
Good. Health Hades. That's what we're calling the build. It's like, oh my God, Scream would always be like, are you going damage Thoth this game? Like he would ask those types of questions, and I think it's the funniest. Like to name your build, especially the more normal it is. Like that's so funny to me. So this one's going Health Hades.
You're going Tank Ares.
Yeah,
I think this game.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Tank Ares this game. Yeah, I think I'm gonna build Damage Thoth this time around.
It was the Scaries in the jungle. Remember that?
That's true. That's iconic for sure. Then surely you said Bancrofts might be the Russian mid.
Yeah.
Hades time to shine.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right on.
Just like Zeus. Just like Zeus.
No, Zeus sucks.
He's coming.
Zeus doesn't suck.
I think
He's
Zeus
horrible.
is good.
Zeus is coming out.
I think
man.
Zeus is fine.
Once his one can go through a wall, it'll be good.
With that Vamp
No
Shroud
one wants
change, that dude is gonna be hard to kill.
True.
I swear. I think.
No tank boots though. I think Zeus was OP because he would just go tank boots.
I mean that's fair, but he's got extra survivability from Vamp now.
True.
And that Vamp.
I think the god slept on.
I think he is too.
Imagine.
I wish
playing-
mid laners would just
it's
think
2000.
like us.
The year is 2021.
No, you know what's crazy?
You have no immunity.
Dude,
None.
You have nothing.
Dardas nearly
that makes
picked
you
it.
that makes you
He
lead.
nailed
Darda's nearly picked
yeah,
it.
against Dragons where he played Agony, right? It was Agony or Zeus.
Wow.
Thank goodness he
Yeah,
played
thank
that.
God.
Dude, I wanted him to play Zeus. I feel like Zeus would have gone crazy.
Agreed.
Crazy bad, probably. I don't know. That's look. Everyone knows I'm the #1 Zeus lover. That god is not very good right now.
At the beginning of the season, we played Zeus and Anubis for like 3 weeks straight. And
Wow,
scrims.
how did 3 weeks wasted practice go?
And it worked. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
We had to
But
go through so many team talks of me and Vin saying, just let Vin practice certain picks, please. No.
are you saying that you weren't the one who wanted to be playing Zeus every game?
I wanted to.
Oh, you did want to.
Yeah, me and Vin had to like be very vocal and be please, please. No.
Wait, so you're telling me that you are happy that you played 3 weeks of Zeus?
Huh?
That was good.
Oh, okay. We were on different.
So we had a
That's
strap
4
for it.
Zeus yeses.
Yeah.
We had a strap for it, and then
character
Vines
building.
came in.
Yeah,
The Vines actually
character.
screwed it up. And
Wait,
Now
Vines are
Vines
gone.
yeah.
All right, Zeus is back in the meta.
Next 3 weeks are going to be fun.
I guess. All right, how about a good mage? Kibo, little small damage increase early on the water cannon. That affects you two.
It should
more
be
than anyone else.
more jungle.
More of a jungle change, I'd
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
The cannon getting better. I mean,
It's
sweet.
20, I think, flat. right?
Yep, 20 at level 1.
Probably have to ban Daji because
That's a
character
revert.
is. But like Hebo will be great. His clear will be a lot better. I remember they changed his water cannon damage from 70 to 60. I think it was last year.
Yeah, this
maybe.
is an old revert.
Yeah.
But
pretty sure,
this
like-
it went back up. I do think like he's got problems with people complaining about his late game just being super dumb. If he just hits his 3, that's a carry at half HP. But like the way to nerf him wasn't making his 1 do 60 damage,
Right.
which is less than a basic for most assassins.
Right.
It's definitely a good way to make him playable again because before at level 2, I mean, if you fought him, his 1 is useless. You
Right.
may as well just auto with your little water hands.
Yeah.
Because it does just as much damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on the old map as well, since like the lane was a little bit smaller as well, like in mid, like you could poke trade as well with the 1, but then once it got nerfed, it was like
No point.
not really poke trading anymore, you know?
Right.
So,
All right, how about Hell? A little bit of increased power scaling on the Dark 1, decreased mana cost on both forms of the 1, and increased magical power scaling by 5% on Repulse, which is the Dark 3. How much do you think that matters for her?
I think it's like a nice like quality of life change. I think she was like kind of lacking like in some places. I mean, no one wants healers in the meta.
Especially
I think that's a good change in the right way to make it like not like she's just a healer.
Right. No
But
healing change.
I don't know if that really helps her too much. She's kind of an easy target to kill, like late game and stuff. You kind of just get on her fast and she just dies.
And
She doesn't really have
I think
a-
the biggest problem is just Onk just kind of screws her.
Yeah.
Tainted and
Yeah.
the tanks that are in the meta now, I think that like you can't really get away with that.
Yeah.
God.
Her safety comes from just like her heal and then running away, and
Yeah.
that just instantly procs the
Yeah.
And
Onk.
the tainted buff as well.
Yeah,
now that
the
you
tainted
get,
buff is
now you
pretty
like take the healing as well. Like that's
big
that's
deal.
rough stuff for her.
For sure. All right, how about Hera? Argus got better, increased his damage basically across, got 5% scaling on all of his auto attacks, and then increased the base damage of the 1, or the fist damage of the 1 from 80 to 280 to 80 to 300. Hera, we haven't seen like at all.
She has to
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah, I think
Well, you have
she's-
Dardas on your team.
He
so of
says
course-
it's bad.
well,
He's sandbagging till world.
He might be. He might be. Because there's no way that god is weak, in my opinion.
I think that's a revert on her one. I think
It
her one
might
got
be.
Could be.
nerfed before. I know her shield did, but
Yeah.
I think they buffed the shield before, and I think she's gotten small buff like 2 or 3 times, I think, in the recent patches. She's got her shield
yeah.
buff 1 time or 2 times or something, and then the 1 buff. So, I mean, she should be like okay. I just don't know, like, I mean, the game is getting faster, and
Right.
the faster it is usually the worse for those gods that can't really, like, get out
I
of,
just feel
like,
like
the
she has
laning
great
phase and
matchups
stuff.
into mages right
Yeah.
now. Raijin, I mean, Morgan Le Fay will be meta,
Yeah.
but I feel like Hera is like great into a god like that.
Yeah,
where
it should be
You
pretty
can't
good.
really avoid Argus.
Right, you just
and
drop Argus on her head.
slams
And
you,
Yeah.
what does she do? And Argus getting better definitely matters a lot.
Yeah, I think the more immobile characters that are being played,
Yeah.
the better she becomes. But when there's not, it's kind of like
Yeah.
rough. Like you can kind of close the gap on her pretty fast.
And when the best mages are Scylla, Janice, like
Yeah,
yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
hitting them with Argus very often. All right, Nika, it's time for your boy. It's Jormungandr.
Nothing changes, I feel like.
This doesn't matter. You got some more damage on the autos.
I played him. It's kind of like Hades, where like the 3 is great. I love that. That's such a good ability, and his ult's pretty good. Mm-hmm. But realistically, his 1 is like decent damage, and his 2's way too slow, and it kind of doesn't do anything. I think his build path's really awkward as well. You never want to be full tank Yorm, and you never want to be full damage, and it's pretty hard to be in between with the way
What
the
happened
game
to
is
the
right
to
now.
the Chronos Pendant rush?
Oh, the one game I played him, I literally went like full damage with Rangdas, and it was pretty strong. I mean, if you get to sneak up on someone with the 3, you do one-shot them. But I just feel like realistically, his laning phase is not great. Actually, with Amp Shroud, it's not terrible. But
And his autos being better is like huge in the laning phase, right?
Fine, but like he doesn't have any. So when Yorm was at his strongest, it's because he had flat pen options early. And
he also
he
had, Jade was also a lot stronger back then.
when Jade's came out, he was already falling off. I can guarantee you that. When he had plate helm, pen boots, binding, voidstone, like that build, like he would do way too much damage early game, and you wouldn't lose any trades. You don't have that option anymore. So I feel like the god isn't strong early game, and just the way he's designed isn't that strong late game. He's not really a full frontliner, and he's not like that big of a threat to carries. So
From a non-solo laner's perspective, it's pretty OP because he was a Q god before, but
Yeah.
maybe his breath wasn't strong enough.
Yeah.
Right, but now
he is a
he's
coup
got
god.
stinky
He
breath.
will-
Yeah.
it's gonna get all the
Actually,
Qs.
I mean, you do get to do some pretty cool things to make sure you get creep RNG level 1, stuff like that. Maybe there's like niche stuff. I just feel like, as someone who loves the god, I just don't really see myself ever wanting to pick him over other options, even other guardians. Like
yeah,
I
there's
hate,
like compassion, right? Like that kind of screws him over a bit.
Yeah,
right?
that's
When you're,
true
like,
as
hitting
well.
a backliner.
like I hate Cthulhu, but he also just does everything Yorm does, but better.
Dude, Hero's Axe on Cthulhu, like
It's
when
so
you're Cthulhu ulting,
Yeah.
like, my God, those shields
Support
are insane.
Cthulhu builds go crazy. Mail of Renewal, Asclepius, Lotus Crown, Hero's Eggs.
Support, huh?
You just press 3. You press 3 in your ult, and it's crazy.
Well, there you go. Bobby, do you want me to write that one down for you? Gave him a build, he's giving you a build.
Please,
like,
please,
all
Health
fair.
Cthulhu.
Trust me, this one will work.
Healing
This one will
Cthulhu, I got
work.
Healing
this one.
Cthulhu.
Healing
Gotta label it.
Cthulhu.
What's
And you go Med. Well, you need Warrior's X, so it's kind of rough.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Now you can go Med and
Can you
Brace.
write
Cross
that
this
down?
one out.
Yeah.
No, I just crossed it out after that. Yeah, I didn't. Why can't you go Healing Cthulhu?
No, that's what I do.
Oh, okay. I'll
Yeah.
cross it out.
Okay, write it down again.
Yeah, writing it down again. Yeah, I'm on it. Okay, Healing Cthulhu solo.
Yeah,
Okay.
very important.
Very important. All right,
Yeah, I
so
thought
now-
you meant support, and I was
No,
gonna be
no.
like, I don't want any Cthulhu sports in my game. You know?
No, definitely not. I mean, for Yorm, as backliners, like, is that a god that you're scared to see, Barra?
He's only as good as his build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like once
And now
the
there's
flat,
compassions and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that kind of just
I think his
negates
damage is
what
too
he
slow
does.
as well.
Yeah.
I think if you're like when you look at Arthur Cucullin, they like instantly do so much damage
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
If a god doesn't instantly threaten a carry, I feel like they're just not great.
I feel like Yorm should even be good right now into like Arthur and Cucullin if his kit and build was good. No?
Cucullin is one of his worst matchups.
That's what I was thinking too. I was thinking
And,
Cucullin.
and sure,
I said that.
Arthur can't, and Arthur can't big ult him, but Arthur like doesn't take damage from Yorm.
Right,
Just
he
hits
was
No,
you.
gonna
yeah,
free
I
lane
was saying
phase.
Yorm
Yeah,
is bad. And,
you were telling me that
Yeah.
before that we started, actually.
I was actually just testing.
Right, no, that's smart. I know.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. Just making sure.
Glad I got that right.
All right, how about Kali Twig? Got a couple buffs here to her 1 mana cost, to the 2 some blade damage, and mana cost on the 3 as well.
Talk about a cringe character.
Mana. talking about on the note of cringe characters. She's actually got a lot of buffs and help lately. Her mana was actually a huge issue early game. She was considered a low pressure god. It wasn't her 3/2, sorry, kind of smacks.
Yeah, it actually does so much damage.
It does a lot of damage.
She really well
and,
early.
Yeah, and carries, if they don't beads it, they kind of get owned.
Especially
like, really
with Mannequin
hard.
now as well. Like,
Because she can AA cancel with her ult and stuff. It's like the problem she had is that she used 3 abilities, her jump especially, and she was She couldn't do anything. For about 10 levels, that would be her problem. And you can't go trans or Jotuns that fix mana, or even Hydras, because that's just not her build. So mana was a huge issue. Mannequins is probably helps her mana out even more now. They gave her an extra item without boots. That definitely helps. With items like...
There's where
I've seen some one-shot Kali
they
builds
fix her mana. Oh yeah, well, you can
Power
do
Kali.
Let's
get the nomenclature ready. Power
let's
Kali.
go.
Probably the biggest buff of all was the shell nerf that absorbed 2 hits late game. When she needs that target and she's like 2 autos away from killing a carry, maybe you've eaten through their Aegis, pre-beat some CC, and the shell comes out, and you just want to leave the game.
And then you kill that shell, and then there's another shell, and then you kill that shell,
and Wrong You flies in with Horus. There's the 4th shell.
Yeah, 4th shell right on top
and
of
it's
your
like,
head.
well, this is just not fun. A lot of different changes that have gone to make, in my opinion, a top 3 worst assassin in the game. Probably playable.
Good. All right, how about Mulan? Sam would call this god an assassin, but I don't know if you feel the same way.
I don't know if what he's doing is assassin.
He's playing it. You know, that's as far as we can go.
He does select the character sometimes.
Yes.
Why did he pick it against us?
You
He
just
played
weren't lucky enough, I
Thanatos
suppose.
against us.
Not lucky enough, I suppose. Look, this god just keeps getting buffs, and they're like big buffs. Like
Her
more
numbers are
scaling.
crazy.
Her numbers are nuts. This god has got to be good. Right?
I think with this buff, this is like, if this doesn't make her good, she's gonna have to start critting in her ult.
It's
and
so
her 3.
it's such a dilemma. Like her laning phase is actually crazy, especially if you're good at the god and you hit the 3 like a lot. You will win trades against like even Arthur Cullen. Like she's really strong, but really easy to gank. Even though you can cancel your ult, she's easy to gank. And late game, I just don't know how you start fights really. Like if the ult still isn't great. Like it doesn't feel good to start a team fight by self-rooting yourself to get a knock-up. Whereas,
yeah, but it's a massive root. Like I don't know.
Well,
I think that it has a backliner. I don't know
listen.
how you guys feel, but like, yeah, she might be standing still, but I had to like double relic if the jungler's with her.
it does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
It does a
I mean,
lot
if she's
of
alone,
damage.
she's dead.
Yeah,
I
she's
still
alone,
want her
she's
to
dead,
be good.
for sure.
I don't know. It's so weird. Like, I'll probably play her a lot more to figure it out, but I just don't see it. Just compared to the other warriors, like I'm still comparing it to Arthur Cullen.
Sure.
And Wukong and Guan.
and
sure.
Yorm.
Like, she's better than Yorm, I think. She's better than Yorm.
Well,
we got
hey,
that lockdown.
Yorm can't get pulled at the very least. So
True.
You know, if Mulan becomes good, maybe that's where
Counter
you're
matchup.
the counter matchup. I don't know. I mean, for Bera, like, I feel like I get owned by every Mulan I ever play against.
I feel like she's Baba Yaga to me, where she's gotten buffed so much consecutively. I don't know how she's not good now. I have the same opinion as you. I'm like, okay, she's gotten 10 buffs in a row. Why are solo laners / support / junglers not playing her more? And for me, Baba, I'm just like, why is no one playing Baba? She's got buffed so much.
Right.
If you got her 2 online slightly earlier, then she would be OP, I think. Because you could run the game like early mid-game, but it takes like 8-9 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you had it in that laning phase, she would be like crazy. But we don't want that,
I'd
because then she'd be
say-
too strong.
Sorry, I say a problem that she has is that in jungle at least, I don't think it's as much in a tank role, but her 1, it actually is a huge nerf once you upgrade her 1, because you get locked in her swiping animation. You can't beads, you can't Aegis, and you can't use like your ult, for example.
Right.
A carry will
Kill
put you at 50% HP in the use of your 1.
Right.
And that's awful. Her 2 is like, she does enough damage with her 2 for her to be locking herself in that animation is fine. But if you compare like a basic from Daji with Hydra's damage to her, the third tick of her 1, which does about 100 damage. Right.
But it has more scaling.
I love the little animation you do.
You're just wishing.
accurate.
You're just wishing that you could just cancel it
yeah.
and
Right.
leave the game before the 1 goes off. It's absolutely terrible to build, and don't get me started on the 3. It's also trash.
I will not get you started on the 3. I know better than that. All right, how about Odin, fellas? A little bit of cooldown on the 2 and the 1, and a little bit of scaling
It's a
on
revert,
the 3.
isn't it?
I believe it is.
Yeah. Well, if he wasn't picked before when it was good, I don't think it will be picked now necessarily. That's how I look at it.
He got some play whenever. Dude, you remember that
Not really
where he
a
first got
solo.
reworked? Everyone was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, he's gonna be so
His
OP."
3 was like a 11-second cooldown, and he would just hold it and walk around the jungle just looking for someone.
Right,
That's
yeah.
the deal mod,
Yeah,
dude.
That's the deal, Mom.
He loves it.
He would just start horrific, get your beads at level 1, and then just follow you around with his spear. You just walk out a tower and you just get stabbed.
I think he might have a place in support like before, but not solo.
Okay.
I think he's actually pretty good in jungle.
Yeah,
Maybe, yeah.
I was gonna say
Actually, yeah.
with cooldown nerfs, he's actually pretty sweet with Bumba's Hammer. I used to play him a lot since before the Bumba's Hammer nerf, and I would have played him in the SBL if it had a good game. But like his lower cooldowns on his 1-2 give him the point where he can Bumbas his way to jumping and 2ing through an entire fight, and I think he's got a place in the jungle. He probably doesn't. He clears faster now with the cooldown buffs. I'd say that could be a place. He does a lot of damage. He has 4 damaging ability, especially if you can get out of the cage. Phantom plus Compassion destroys his damage because I think it stacks.
30%.
Whose idea was that?
No one's building Phantom anyways.
It makes if you do build Odin damage, that's the problem, is that you get Compassion plus Phantom, which he forces the Phantom.
Yep.
It's hard to beat sometimes. You kind of have to cage someone twice when the Phantom's down, but with like Relic Dagger, it's hard.
Yeah. Relic Dagger, definitely something. I was gonna ask you about that, Bobby. Just everyone kind of talking about support builds, not having tank boots anymore. Relic Dagger Rush, is that viable, or do you think you need some prots early before you can build it?
Maybe on some gods that can rely on like a blink and they don't need prots for safety, like Circuit or something. Maybe, I don't know, Ares because of his 2. But I just think you need some sort of prots, like even from like the binding.
Sure. I don't know. Relic Dagger, as a backliner, that's one of those items that I look and I'm like, great, I can't kill that guy anymore, and their relics are always up. Like that item just seems really insane to me all the time. All right, Ola Run time. So who's going to be fighting to play it on the bolts? Are you
You
an
can
Ola?
take it.
I don't want it. You can take it.
Dog water.
Oh, okay, great. Barra, since you're taking it, 10% scaling on the 2, decrease the cooldown on his ult, and he gets crowd control reduction in the ult.
Woohoo! What's the big decrease on his ult? Like how many seconds?
It goes from 140 to 100 to 120 to 100. So 20 seconds.
That god's
You can have
unplayable
it.
Spectral.
Yeah.
Wait, they're playing Oleron?
Yeah.
I'll just rush Spectral this time.
You can have it.
Like, that character is just bad.
All right.
I think they need to actually like rework Spectral so it doesn't affect all around.
It should only affect
Only
physical.
Physical crits.
Yeah.
I would say I played him a ton last year. The best change from that I saw is the CCR in his ult. Sometimes
Yeah,
if
so
you
don't
got
get
like,
double locked.
for example, Bologna 3'd as
Yep.
you altered, you were disarmed for like 4 seconds. You have to beat
Yep.
or do nothing with your 140
Just
second
moving around
ult.
like
Right.
this, looking for a place to auto.
It's a
charge it up.
I like the buff, and maybe if ADCs don't go crit, so they don't force Spectral, he's got
I think
a
I'd
place.
always build it.
I think,
if there's
yeah,
an Oleron
if I
in the
even saw it,
game.
I would just build it.
Because
Yeah.
Even though it gives no magical protection, it's that good against him.
You literally just go Spectral and then like
Yep.
a magical defense item, and you have basically double
Yeah, you can just
magical.
face
or
it.
double
yeah,
and
he
Oleron.
does not deal any damage to
Yeah.
you. It's actually tragic to watch.
His
Yeah, his-
build path feels really bad. I've tried to make him work, and it just feels so bad.
Fair enough. All right, how about Ratatosker? Not really balance changes, but of course with the removal of boots, it affects his movement speed. I think a god that already performed really well at the playoff event now gets better because he did have 20% movement speed compared to the 18% on boots from his Acorn. Now he gets 6% movement speed and it still gets his per level. So now he's just faster than he was before. I think Rat's gonna be like nuts. Do you think?
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Thank you, everybody. I'll be here all week.
It's a weird buff nerf, right? Where he's got 6%, so that's just sweet. He's just got speed that other people don't. The problem is that everyone else got an item slot and he didn't. You can't sell the Acorn.
Interesting.
You need to keep it so that the 3 does anything. Also, the tank Acorn is really good too,
Yep.
but you need to keep them. Like, you can't sell them for another item.
Yeah.
Everyone else gets another item slot while he gets 4% movement speed more than he got before, since he already had 2% on people.
Yeah, that's
It's
interesting.
weird.
Do you think he got better?
I mean, I kind of look at it like a nerf. Like, other gods don't have to build Ninja Tabby. They just go Stone Cutting or Jotuns
Right.
now,
Yeah, that's fair.
which equals his Acorn.
Right.
Or, in my opinion, I think some gods will use that Stone Cutting better early, which is what Rat's supposed to run. So
Right.
I really think the boots removal is actually bad for Rat.
Yeah,
In
I
solo?
kind of agree. I feel like he doesn't get better with
Interesting.
boots being gone. Maybe in solo it helps him because like other people can't just back for full boots and you have like tier 2 Acorn.
Right.
Now you're both lacking a power spike kind of, but you can stay in lane the whole time first, and maybe that's a little bit better.
Yeah.
I think he's already strong in solo with the tank build.
Yep.
So maybe we'll see him played a little bit more.
Interesting. All right, how about Thor? He gets his passive goes from 30 to 55 units, and he gets 10% scaling on the ultimate. Thor was really not seen a whole lot this year so far. How much do you think this helps him, Twig?
I think it helps him a lot. I've never been a big Thor player or Thor fan, but I can see how he's very good. And I think the range on his ult proccing in a team fight, that difference between 30 to 55 range is pretty insane. And the amount of ticks you get off between all the like types of ways you do damage with your 3 ticks. On Thor, it helps a lot. His late game is going to be much stronger.
Yep.
And I'd be surprised if we don't see him a lot more this next split.
Also feel like that's a god that I always wanted way more items than I could actually build. Now I can get like as much CDR as I want and like Crusher or something
you don't
like
have
that.
to make the Brawlers or Crusher decision as much.
Right.
You can probably get both now.
Yeah. Does it matter at all for solo Thor?
Nah, not really. I feel
Yeah.
like
I feel like it's more important in jungle.
I think in solo he just depends on what gods are in the lane, like matchup wise. If he can like deal with the pressure in those lanes, then he'll be strong. If it's like a Nike Amy meta, then Thor is pretty good.
Yeah.
But if it's still Arthur Cullen, he'll struggle.
Oh, Arthur Cullen.
The villains.
Yeah,
villains.
They
They
really,
really
are
are villains, yeah.
the main characters of Solo Lane, man. All right, Thoth, Hieroglyphic Assault gets 5% extra scaling. That's his 1. Matter at all?
That's a bad god.
Yep.
Bad god, huh?
It sucks.
I think
'cause
that god
it's
is
so
OP,
fun.
man.
He is actually really
whipped
fun.
man.
I mean,
I love playing.
he's
Thoth.
OP like very situationally. If they have gods
Yeah.
that suck at diving, which is very hard to find right now,
Exactly.
then he's great.
Especially you just got
With
Thor
the
buff,
villains around.
Daji buff,
Yeah.
like you just
Yeah, like
buff,
Daji, like again, we
oh,
bring it back.
annihilates
Like,
that
how
character.
could you play
Yeah.
that god when Daji exists? Like,
literally
you
no
can't.
CC immunity,
But you guys
and then you're like,
advocating
oh,
for Zeus 10 minutes ago. Like, he's even
Good luck
worse.
diving Zeus.
Zeus
when
is
he-
better than Thoth.
yeah, but he
is.
has insta burst.
See?
And Thoth is like,
true.
as
a
Thoth as
Daji,
well,
yes.
it's like
You're
you
a-
dive on him, he starts charging his ult, right? Zeus at least
I'm
drops
gonna hit you.
the
Drops his
storm
ult.
on you, and that is just hitting you. So
Well,
I
not
don't know.
Daji, because she goes up. And
Well, she has to do like an AA cancel. And
You're,
like,
you're still a little
you
bit
get, like, two
more
hits
scared
by it.
of the Zeus than
yeah.
Sure.
The Thoth
Because
ult
if
that
you
has
get
no
one
charge and hits you
stun
for
on
like
you
200.
when you maybe 3N, like
Right.
yeah, he
maybe
could blow you
you
up.
could
like,
die to the 2-1.
If Zeus knows
Right.
your blink, like Daji's blink on, make it like 2 on top of
Yeah.
himself, bounce the 1 off. Oh, you know,
Wow, that's a
that's a
combo.
lot of damage.
I'm seeing Nika Zeus.
That's a lot of damage.
It is pretty clean. I gotta admit,
Thank
Nika
you.
Zeus is pretty good.
I even played.
I don't know. It's from like you were on a kick. Maybe it was like last year where you were playing a lot of mid.
Oh,
and you were
yeah,
like
yeah.
Scylla and Zeus.
Oh, my
So-
Zeus was actually crazy. I remember that. You
Right.
were watching.
Of course, I was watching. I was taking notes. What do you think? Why do you think I'm this deep in the notebook,
of course,
man?
Of course.
All right.
Damage Zeus.
Yeah, damage Zeus, of course. Freya, Barry, any good? Her 1 mana cost goes down and her 2 mana cost goes down.
That's a character that people don't want in the meta.
Yeah,
And when she is in the meta, she's very suffocating. And
Another
I think she
volatile
got
character.
way better with boots not being in the game because you
Yep.
could literally just rush hasten as fast as possible now.
She's a villain.
Yeah.
Who are the heroes, guys? That's what I want to know. You know, if the, all these
Any
villains-
guardian? Do you have any guardian buffs in there? You're literally like pointing at it.
No. We got a Nerf coming up.
Dude, there's like 12. There's like 8 Guardians nerfed the game, and you on buffs.
Thoth is a hero. He's
Here-
fun.
yeah.
Thoth's a hero.
Heroes,
yeah.
heroes are gods like Zeus. Anubis, in my opinion, is one of
I
them.
think Poseidon.
Sylvanas.
personally.
Poseidon's a bit. Sylvanas is close. His heal can be suffocating.
Sylvanas
but-
is like comedic relief. Like that's his role.
Dude, I just want to play like
Full
some of
damage
the
Sylvanas is game breaking still. Like,
Sylvanas with
Okay,
what's it called in
Mannequin's
mid?
jungle Sylvanas.
No, mid Sylvanas with Mannequin is broken. You farm that jungle while clearing mid wave so quick. It's like Zeus mid.
Okay, all right.
It actually is like Zeus, but more
Damage
damage.
Sylvanas.
Exactly.
Mulan's,
A mannequin Sylvanas.
Mannequin.
Mulan's definitely a hero.
Mulan's a
'cause-
hero. Gods that are easy to kill with risk reward.
Yeah.
Like there's the word risk.
Okay.
Like Sobek. You like Sobek.
I'll take a picture.
Sobek's a villain.
Sobek's a villain.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me? Sobek is my main
Fafnir
villain.
as well. That god, he's really
villain.
fun, but
I think
he's such a
Sobek
villain.
Fafnir just about eke out Arthur and Cuchulainn in terms
Yeah.
of being villains.
What?
I agree.
Well, slap
I
a
agree.
tank boots on. Actually, no. You can go Cuchulainn and Arthur with beads, tank boots.
Yeah, that's true.
All
All right, wait. Well, I let it get away from me. That's my fault. I'm sorry, everybody.
You know who's the biggest
Freya.
hero in
Freya.
Smite? Vamana. That god just suffers. He's just trying to have a good time. He cannot play the
little
game.
baby here.
I guess, yeah, we're all Vamana sympathizers around here, I suppose. How about Freya, Barry?
Very scared of that change because mana was her biggest weak point, in my opinion, in the early game, and I feel like she just got like triple buffed with boots being taken out and the mana changes.
Yep, agreed. I think being able to rush rings on her probably going to
She
feel
always back.
yeah. All right, how about Nox? Bobby, you were talking to me about Nox, and it did not seem to go particularly well for you, but maybe that was
I
just that one game.
played Nox in a scrim at the end of the scrim block.
Against us.
This is against you guys.
Yeah.
I
it go?
absolutely dominated.
Did you?
Yeah,
true?
I was absolutely
I actually don't
dominating.
remember. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like it was like a game
Yeah,
5. We remade, and he's like, "Can I just switch my pick to Nox?" And we were like, "Sure,
My-
like whatever."
Peter was the only one responding to me. I was like, "Can I just change it to Nox?" Everyone was just silent, and Peter said, "Sure." And then I just changed it, and I dominated that scrim.
I don't remember personally.
Yeah, but I'll say once
we'll
you
give
said-
it to him. We'll give it to him.
Once you said end of the scrim block, nothing
Nothing
matters.
matters.
no.
Yeah, nothing matters
Like,
anymore.
They were running it down in duo. I was hitting like 1-2 combos. Like I was
Playing
feeling good.
Nox, yeah. Okay, so now that she does more minion damage, how does that help Nox support?
Well, let me tell you,
Let me go to the next
more
No.
time to proxy Steve
page. Okay.
when Steve is back in base on that 5th scrim block because he's just running it down.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
That's big.
They
okay,
buffed
I'm
the
not-
top end damage, right, on the Nox one.
Yes, it is.
I don't
it is
think that makes
minion
sense.
damage. It is
Yeah, yeah.
minion damage on it. Yes.
I think
Do
they
you even
wanted.
use it for minions?
Okay, so they
Well,
wanted
you
it.
can.
They wanted the one to be like secondary wave clear, right? But they never buffed the base, like the first few ranks of it. When you're maxing a second, by the time you get points into it, your 2's fully leveled. You're putting points in your ult. Like it's not gonna be relevant. So I feel like if they want Nox mid, it's 50 damage rank 1, right?
Correct.
That needs to go up to like 70 probably, and then it's like.
I mean, on Nox, I think you max the dash right now, second and mid.
Yeah, so yeah, that's true as well. So you're actually like,
And support you max the one.
Yeah.
yeah.
There you go.
But, yeah.
It's
Is,
like-
is there a world where you could max 1?
I would
No.
never.
Probably,
yeah.
like,
You-
yeah,
you
you
just
get way
have
too
so
much damage
much
from the
burst on them 3.
So if they
yeah.
want Noxmid to be good, that rank
Yeah.
1 of the 1 needs to probably go
They'd
up.
have
on
to
minion
shuffle the
damage.
numbers. The 3 goes up like
The
80
the
or
dash-
100 damage.
Yeah,
If
it's
you
it
double
also
dash
scales.
someone,
its
it just-
top end is like
Yeah.
360
You
or
can actually kill
something.
50
tanks
damage
with the
just
3.
isn't enough.
Yeah.
for
It actually
to be,
hits like a
way
truck.
Is there any world where you could put like a couple points in the 2, then max 1, 3, and finish the
No.
2
That
last?
you'd
gains
always
way
want the
too much
2,
damage.
Yeah.
I actually think I went on a little binge last year where I played Nox jungle when
I
she
played
got
a
her
solo
1 buff.
like 20 games.
She
in a
was
row.
actually so good in
Barrett sent me a
know
look, man.
why?
Don't look at me.
You know why you think
It was that guy.
Nox 2 is still bugged where sometimes it just double procs on camps.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
You feel like you just walk around the jungle just destroying everything, and with Boombas, like your abilities are actually always up.
It's really hard to recreate, but sometimes Nox 2 just
So
insta
that
kills camps.
Bumbers Nox jungle.
Yo, they should let
Nox.
Nox auto attack on L1.
Dude,
That's for the Boombas.
They
bro.
should.
That would be really good with Bumba's proc, no doubt about that. All right, Yamoja. This is kind of it's a shift.
Yeah,
you know?
a shift.
A shift, right?
I didn't read this. It was too long.
It's a lot. Basically, you no longer need to worry about building mana or MP5,
Which is a buff.
You get Omi at level 6, 11, and 16, guaranteed.
That does not sound fun.
And mana and MP5 are now converted to health at
That's
a
a
rate
buff.
of 20%. You cannot spam the 1. You can't just like loop it over
That
and
would
over
crash
again.
the game sometimes.
Yeah,
So
you can't
that's a
do
good
that.
thing.
You get it did increase base damage on the 1, but increase the post fire as well, and 10 extra seconds on the ultimate cooldown, 110 to 120. Where are you at on Yamoja now, Bobby?
I mean, it's like a nerf through and through. The not having to build like the breastplate early, or I mean that's what I did, or the cooldown boots, whichever one people kind of opted to, is gonna feel a lot better.
Yep.
But not being able to spam the 1 was kind of like her selling point in the early game.
Yeah.
You would get you would just force beads super easily. You were super safe by yourself, and then you could basically solo a carry if they were
That
by
was
themselves.
cringe, man.
Yeah, you would literally just
Absolutely
walk at the
cringe.
purple or the red buff, and if nobody was with the mid or the jungle or the carry and they couldn't get out of your ult, you would just solo them.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah, I liked it.
That was interactive.
It was great.
I mean, I liked it.
Okay.
I wasn't
Bobby.
Zeus then, though. So
True,
you would have
Right,
died.
that would have been
True.
Yeah, Zeus loved to play that against Emoja for sure. That's definitely a matchup you like.
It's a counter matchup. Water, lightning versus water.
Oh, true.
Electrocutes her.
No, that's season 11 for type advantages.
I actually think that's gonna be like that would
be
actually be
great.
sick if there was some sort of like little things like that where Zeus
that
does
would be
like
horrible.
extra damage.
that
to,
would
like,
be
Just for Zeus.
Just for Zeus.
That's
Now
Zeus
it's
buff.
extra damage to like Poseidon, Yamoja.
So you
What's
just
the
don't
other-
pick them then.
Evo.
You just don't
Evo,
pick
yeah,
those
yeah.
gods.
Evo, yep.
Tell me, that'd
Man.
be fun.
I love that Zeus is nowhere on this midseason, and we spent like 10 minutes dedicated talking
Just a
about
cool god,
that
man.
Imagine
A
if-
hero. We
I agree with that. A hero, no doubt. All right, this video has gone really long. But before we go, I want to give me the noobs who haven't gotten a chance to play any PTS, anything like that. They're watching this video, getting ready to play once this patch goes live. Give me a quick rundown of like some gods they should play in your role and generally what they should be building. You're not allowed to say Arthur Cacullen. I'll give you some time to think though. I'll let you go last. Sarah?
If you're a Freya player, definitely experiment with the Ring 2 start, because that start when I played it one game and it felt amazing. Like literally, you get haste and that character evolves.
Yep.
So if you're a Freya player, play that. Soul still feels really good for me. I think she actually got better without getting boots. Pretty much all of the ADCs I played have felt good as long as you're going the attack speed build. So if you're an ADC player, play whatever you're best at and just go attack speed builds. Felt really good every time.
Attack speed build being like Ichabod, Xe.
Ichabod, Xe, the Silver Branch builds felt pretty good. I would say Dominance was feeling a little better than it previously did, which I thought that item was complete dog. I still think that item's pretty dog, but was feeling better.
Sure.
Yeah, any variation of those builds will feel very good.
Fair enough. Bobby?
Support changes a lot.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna be playing a lot of Sobek, a lot of Fafnir,
Okay. Yeah.
some Ymir,
Are you
Yamoja.
writing this down? Are you writing this down?
Well, I don't know what build he's going. I'm waiting until. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Is it a damage Sobek?
Yeah. Let me help. Protection, health, Sobek,
Okay. All right. Prot Sobek, got it.
and then just build benevolence, and that's just you'll do fine.
All right.
Oh,
Fair enough.
wait. I need to add War Flag. I experimented with
seen
that
that.
with Spinner as my support. We both went War Flag. Very good. A lot of fun.
Both building work.
They did change it though, right?
Oh, they did.
change
Yeah,
it.
hold on. I didn't. Let me go back into the doc here. Only the player who earned 4 or more assists while owning War Flag can earn bonus gold.
Lame.
From the
Never mind.
stats.
Continue.
So don't do that.
I mean, I bought it in mid as well for the 2v2, and you would hit the other people for 8 gold. You just like bling 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 bling, and you
That seems
just
good.
rolling in the dough.
That seems good to me. What should people be trying in mid, Ben?
Definitely play Baba Yaga with those buffs. She's probably definitely better. Vines are gone, definitely good. Morgan Le Fay, most fun character to come out in Smite. You can't change my mind on that. She is so fun. Love that character.
Shout out Clumsy D.
Yeah, probably Merlin as well. He'd probably be pretty good. And I mean, honestly, you're probably just rushing Chronos or Chronos Pendant or Bancrofts or Book of Thoth. Probably the major 3. And then there might be some flat pen rushes as well. It's just all dependent with like practice and stuff and testing stuff
Play
out.
some Zeus too. Don't forget.
If you don't want to
yeah.
win, yeah, sure.
Blood soaked.
If you're an alpha,
I'd say there's 2 schools of thought into the jungle of what you could try. The first is if you want to be really impactful early game, I'd try some mannequins with Erlang or just maybe stone cutting on Nem, but basically stone cutting first junglers like Nem and Erlang, and then or even Kali maybe, and then if you want to scale a bit, do more stuff late game, play some Daji, Thor maybe, with full pen builds, you'll probably have a lot of fun.
Sure. Nico?
Solin. So obviously the 2 villains. I won't say them.
Thank
Everyone
you.
knows. Guan's felt pretty good in the games I played, but I think he was already strong. Wukong with even more damage items than before feels great. Zhong actually felt really strong with the new Vamp Shroud into Warlocks.
Okay.
And just having an extra slot where you could build more hybrid feels good.
Yep.
Sub felt pretty good as well because of the Tainted buff or Vamp Shroud, just have really strong laning phases. And assassin-wise, Tsukiyomi, personally, I think he's really, really strong, one of the best gods in solo. And I think he's gotten even better now that he can just build like a straight-up damage item early instead of having Warrior Tab, because you never want to tank bits on him anyway.
Right. Fair enough. There you go. Well, now let me get all the things I wrote down here. Bumba's Nox, Mannequin's Damage Sylvanas, Health Hades, of course, we all remembered that one. Healing Cthulhu,
Yeah.
solo,
It's
not
actually
support.
support Cthulhu in solo.
Support Cthulhu in solo, right,
Yeah.
and Power Kali. Those are also things that everyone should be trying. So hopefully that helps
thought
get
we had
everyone
more.
prepped for midseason. We did. I just every time I pretended to write something down, I just didn't. To be honest with
Yeah,
you, that's
right.
Until Health 80s. That was you
Health
knew you had to
80s.
write
I
that.
legitimately
Gotta
did
put that
write down because that one really threw me for a loop. And I got to say, I'm excited to try it out for sure. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your day, and hopefully this prepped you well for midseason. I forget how to close these in studio because I haven't done it in a while, so hopefully that's just good enough. We'll see you next time on Roll Q.